you know your blood type? Well, there are actually 8 different types. People with type O, they're considered the universal donors. That's the most requested type of blood in hospitals. Type AB positive, they're going to be the universal for plasma. That's the liquid part of our blood that carries cells and nutrients through our bodies. It's most often used in emergencies for patients requiring massive transfusions. And there are also forms of rare blood. That's the case in Australia, where the man with the golden arm has spent a lifetime of giving to save newborn babies from a blood disease. On the surface, James Harrison is just an average guy. He loves his daughter and grandchildren. He collects stamps, goes for walks near his home on Australia's central coast. But it's what's under the surface that makes James extraordinary.
I got nicknamed the man with the golden arm.
Specifically, it's what's flowing in his veins. James's golden arm, his right arm to be exact, from which he's donated blood nearly every week for the past 60 years.
Well, in 1951, I had a chest operation, which they removed the lung. And so I was 14. So when I came out of the operation, or a couple of days after, my father was explaining what had happened, because it was 11 hours on the table in those days. And he said that I'd had 13 units of blood and my life had been saved by unknown people. He was a donor himself. And so I said, well, when I'm old enough, I'll become a blood donor.
At that time, you had to be 18 to donate blood in Australia. Not long after James became a donor, doctors called him with an idea. His blood, they said, could be the answer to a baffling problem in Australia.
In Australia, up until about 1967, there are literally thousands of babies dying each year, and doctors didn't know why. And it was awful. There were women who were having numerous miscarriages, and babies were being born with brain damage. Researchers discovered anti-D, and then James was discovered to have this antibody in his blood, which was amazing.
It's called Rhesus disease, a condition where a pregnant woman's blood actually starts attacking her unborn baby's blood cells. In the worst case, it can result in brain damage or death for the babies.
Australia was one of the first countries to discover a blood donor with this antibody. So it was quite revolutionary at the time. James has effectively helped babies in Australia, but he's helped, babies all around the world.
James worked with doctors to develop a vaccine using the antibodies in his blood. A vaccine his own daughter even ended up needing.
That resulted in my second grandson being born hale and healthy, and it makes you feel good yourself that you've saved a life there, and you save many more, and that's great. Well, today I'll be making my 1,101 donation.
As he's done more than 1,000 times before, James gets in his car and heads to donate his plasma. He's a familiar face around here, and no matter how many times he's given blood, there's one thing that will never change.
Never once have I watched the needle go into my arm. I can't stand the sight of blood, and I can't stand pain, so...
At the donor center, James's plasma is separated from the red blood cells. He gets those back. And the plasma heads off to become the vaccine.
He comes in every week or two. He donates his plasma. His body remakes the antibodies very quickly, and he's able to donate again. So it's really very easy for him to do, and he certainly doesn't see it as anything big. And that's the other rare thing about James. He thinks his donations are the same as anybody else's. He doesn't think he's remarkable.
His blood is precious. In his home country, James is considered a national hero, but he doesn't see it that way.
It becomes quite humbling when they say, oh, you've done this or you've done that, or you're a hero. No, I said, it's something I can do. It's one of my talents, probably my only talent, is that I can be a blood donor.
But it is a big deal. James and his vaccine are credited with saving the lives of more than 2 million babies. That's according to the Australian Red Cross Blood Service. Yes, 2 million lives saved by one man's blood.
Every batch of anti-D that has ever been made in Australia has come from James's blood, and more than 17% of women in Australia are at risk. So James has helped save a lot of lives.
So this is Samuel, and he's 5 weeks old.
One of those lives is baby Samuel. He's just 5 weeks old, and his mother is here to meet James for the first time.
Hi.
Good, how are you? Mwah. Nice to see you.
Hello.
This is Samuel.
Hello, Samuel.
Christy Pastor first got the vaccine injected during her second pregnancy. With James's antibodies in her blood, little Samuel is her fourth happy and healthy baby.
They just said you needed the vaccine. I didn't think about it any further. And then looking into it a bit more, obviously I found out about James and how amazing he is and how many donations he's made, and that it was all because of him.
Doctors still aren't exactly sure why James has this rare blood type, but they think it might be from the transfusions he received when he was 14 years old, after his lung surgery. He's one of no more than 50 people in Australia known to have the antibodies. That's according to the Australian Red Cross Blood Service.
Yeah, I think James is irreplaceable for us. I think we can't really underestimate what he's done, and I don't think anyone will be able to do what he's done. But certainly we do need people to step into his shoes, and he will have to retire in the next couple of years. And I guess for us the hope is that there will be people who will donate that will also have this antibody and become lifesavers in the same way that he has.
James is 78 years old. In Australia, you can donate blood until the age of 81. So as long as he can over the next couple of years, you can bank on James showing up here without missing a beat. Another meeting, a world away, as Stuart prepares to make the journey from England to America.
Go get your stick.
2 years ago, he donated stem cells to Celia, a complete stranger in the United States, and they are about to meet for the very first time.